Jenny.
And I'm Sabs.
We are two
Neurosparkly,
neurospicy best friends,
sharing our personal experiences, navigating life with our neurodiversities. Although our perspectives are from two biologically born women, our mission is to build an inclusive, safe space for everyone searching for some extra love, support, and resources.
We just want to be so clear to our listeners that our content is created for your entertainment and in no way should be taken as medical advice. We are just two girls sharing our personal life experience.
This
episode on
Wait, what are we doing?
Trigger warning, we will be discussing addiction, death, suicide, grief, and loss. Please pause or stop listening if it becomes overwhelming at any point.
Happy birthday! It is Savannah's 31st birthday today. How does it feel to be 31?
It feels like a lot. I feel like it's the calmest I've ever been in my life, like mentally. But physically, I definitely know what they say when I feel like it just rides up and hits you out of nowhere. My body has been very sore lately. But other than that, being 31 is great.
I do always feel like, for me, birthdays are always an exciting thing. Not so much, yes, when it's my birthday for sure, but even more so when it's someone else's birthday. I get super excited, especially when it's yours, especially when it's my husband's, when it's anyone in our household, of course, because it's, yay, it's like our birthday. We're so excited. Yay! And, you know, I didn't even tell you this yet, but I was going through our pictures over the last few years, and I realized even though we've celebrated your birthday over the past couple years, we haven't really been together on your birthday, on your actual birthday, since 2021. And that made me really sad. I'm really looking forward to today, celebrating you, this weekend in general, and hopefully making this time of your life and this new chapter of your life a different perspective for you on birthdays in general.
One thing that I have been working on is in the last 4 years is noticing that my birthdays have always given me immense anxiety. And so for the last few years, I have been trying to rewrite my memories revolved around my birthdays. I feel like no matter what I do, it's just an underlining trigger that comes up around my birthday. And I don't even necessarily not like my birthday or try to avoid it or anything like that. I do, like I said, I try to rewrite my memories revolved around my birthday. The last 4 years, that was a little bit more difficult given the people who were around me and in my life. Just as a complete side note, I was recently in an unhealthy relationship that I got out of about a year ago. So every birthday that came up, this person went out of their way to try and make it about themselves. So I feel like that also validated my discontentness for my birthday.
Right, being there too and experiencing that with you. I know that there was so much trauma there in those birthdays, no matter how much fun we tried to make them or around them or surrounding them, because unfortunately this person was so toxic. I know I experienced, some of that with you and I saw it firsthand. I know that we have touched on some of these stories from your past birthdays as well, but we've really never dove into why your birthdays cause you so much anxiety. So in a roundabout way, I'm very excited to kind of sit down right now and talk about this in a safe space and kind of dive right in. You're so stupid. Okay, but seriously, I'm really excited. I've been wanting to sit down and talk with you about this for a long time because it's something we've never really had the chance to talk about because, again, that person was always around and now they're not. And now we are in a safe space and I'm excited to have this conversation.
I guess I could start it from when I was a kid. I'm sure my mom would tell this story differently, but there was one specific birthday that I do remember. I feel like it's the only one that I really remember from when I was a kid. My mom went out of her way to make sure that I had the best birthday possible. I feel like I was really happy in those moments. I had I was either 8 or 13, somewhere around there in that preteen age. And my mom had 8 of my closest friends at the time, who were all girls, surprise me by showing up in a limo. And I walked out my door and got in the limo and I opened the door and was surprised by all of my friends. And then she had made a scavenger hunt. So we we went from my house that brought us to like, I don't know, like Blockbuster or something.
Oh,
And then there was like a clue there for me to retrieve from like the cashier, and then that would bring us to our next place. And so we ended up going to like Victoria's Secret, and I don't know if you've ever been to Cheeseburger.
oh yeah, love that place.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
it ended up with us down at Cheeseburger,
Uh-huh.
because I love cheeseburgers and milkshakes.
Of course, the best.
And like looking back on that, and even in the moment, I feel like there was always this undertone of like sadness, and I wasn't really sure why. And I feel like as I've gotten older, it's because I always felt like birthdays were more for other people versus for yourself. And ever since I was a young kid, I never really liked being the center of attention. Like I actually hate being the center of attention unless like I make myself the center of attention.
Right.
So I hated when you would go out to restaurants and then like the people would all sing to you.
It's the most uncomfortable thing in the entire world.
Yeah, I know. Or like, you know, just like even if you're over like out to dinner and you're like, oh yeah, like it's her birthday today. I'm like, like
please don't tell me.
Yeah, just like shut the fuck up. I feel like to go back to that childhood story, I think it's something that started very young where like I very much an introvert. Like I didn't really like being out with people. I very much like liked being by myself and enjoying space by myself. So sometimes I just felt like I was being forced to do things for my birthday, but
Right.
it was actually for someone else. Now, fast forward as I've gotten older, like past, 8, 12, 13, when I was in, I'd say middle school is when I started to experience like depression really heavy and anxiety. I'd say from like maybe 6th grade till about 28, I was trigger warning, extremely depressed to the point of like suicidal thoughts and ideations. So whenever your birthday would come up, you're like, another year, like I don't even want to be here. You have nothing to look forward to. You're just like kind of going through the motions. And then a birthday almost felt like a reminder every year of like, okay, like why are you still here?
Right.
And now
Did you say 6th grade?
Yeah.
Is that what you said?
Yeah.
I was thinking, 6th grade, you're like 12, 11? I mean, that's young, man. To 28, that's your whole life, dude.
Yeah, I consider myself lucky. My brother was only 3 years old when he told my mom the first time that he didn't want to be here anymore. And when she asked what that meant, he meant like alive. I'm like, how do you even conceptualize that at 3 years old?
How?
He had a lot of concussions and stuff. It's a completely side topic. I think I was probably in 7th or 8th grade when someone started catching all my cut marks and stuff like that. As years go on, I lost my friend Brittany in freshman year, and then David my senior year, and then from David on, I lost about 2 to 3 people every year since then. So every time a birthday came up, it just kind of felt more like, now I'm coupled with survivor's guilt, like, oh, your friends aren't here.
Right.
Why are you still here? Like, why do you even want to be here? Like, what are you going to do with, 18 years old now?
Right.
You're just getting another year older and you still have nothing to show for it. You still don't want to be here. You still just have no confidence. And there wasn't any like a light at the end of the tunnel for that. When most kids, they grew up planning their weddings, I grew up planning my funeral. And I know I make the joke now a lot that like, I've put more thought into my funeral than any of my friends, and I'll probably be the longest to live at this point. I actually just made that joke this morning.
I was going to say, we talked about this today.
I didn't want to be here until I was 28. So why? It didn't feel like I had anything to celebrate. And that goes back into the imposter syndrome too, where it's just like everyone thinks I'm this happy-go-lucky, fun, outgoing, want to be around, cool girl.
Right.
And I'm like, I'm a piece of shit. I'm hollow inside. I don't know myself. I'm depressed. I'm anxious. And there's really no reason for me to be here. You stop caring about your birthday, and it just becomes like a chore. Like one of those other events that you have to show up to and like put on a fucking screw on the smile and be like, oh my God, I'm so happy to be here. Thank you guys so much for celebrating me. Oh my God. And I hated that because then I felt guilty because I'm like, I just want to be laying in my bed right now crying, and I have to like put on a face because this is what everybody thinks that I want.
I'm curious what, I guess, each year, what got you through? I mean, we're talking from 11 years old to now you're 31. What kept you going? Because I know that this is a big thing for a lot of people. And I know I've told you this a million times, and I will tell you a million more, that I am so glad that you're here, and I am so glad that we met, and I am so glad that you did not go through with all of those horrible thoughts that you were thinking of before. Thank you. But I'm just wondering, what got you through? What got you here today? I love you. I didn't mean to make you cry.
I love you too. No, I knew you were gonna cry. I cry every birthday. And it's nothing that you're doing or saying. Just know that there's just a lot that's coming up for me right now because I just miss a lot of my friends. And I think that's the hardest part about birthdays. Is that like I just wish my friends who aren't here anymore, and I feel guilty. Like I do want to be here, and I do want to be alive, and I can't share that with them. And I think that's it. It just feels bad. Like I'm celebrating with 8 of my closest friends who are alive, but then I just have so many friends who I didn't get to grow up with, and you want to. So I think when you ask what got you through and what got you here, it's that I live for all my friends who aren't here anymore, because I feel like I could have easily have been one of them, and I feel guilty sometimes that I'm not and that I am sitting here. Experiencing so much grief in your life, it can either make you extremely sad or extremely grateful, and more often than not, it makes you both.
Mm-hmm.
Why I kept going was because there were so many small moments in life that made it all worth it. Like, even if I was drunk or I was fucked up on, drugs of some kind, like I always had a good time.
Yeah.
And I always tried to make the best out of every situation, no matter how much I just felt like this just isn't worth it anymore. Like all this pain and all this struggle. I'm not even living for myself anymore, so why the fuck am I still here?
Right.
Like I'm just living because everybody else wants me alive.
Right.
And I think around when I met you is when I was having that thought process, is like, oh damn, like I'm literally just living because all my friends are too afraid to see me dead.
Mm-hmm.
And then I self-reflect and I go back to, okay, well, how have I dealt with all my friends being dead? And I'm like, there's just so many times that I've wanted to trade places with them.
Yeah.
And I know that I can't. So I'm like, okay, if I can't, can I take the things that I love the most about them?
Mm-hmm.
And can I inherit that as part of my personality? And I think that's slowly what I started to do to like get through, was like, okay, what would Kevin do for me right now when I'm like struggling? Like he would make me a lasagna and
Mm-hmm.
like have a glass of wine with me. Like, okay, I'm gonna make lasagna this week,
Mm-hmm.
or if I was really going through it, like how would Jake try and cheer me up? And I would put on me and Jake's favorite music and like dance around my living room by myself and pretend I was dancing with Jake.
And I know that when you're pretending to dance with Jake, and when you're pretending, or not pretending to eat lasagna, when you're actually eating lasagna, pretending it's with Kevin, you know damn well they're right there with you.
I know. And there's been plenty of times where I've been on a hike and I've been at the top of the mountain and I've sat and I've talked to them, and I just hope that they get to see what I get to see too.
Mm-hmm.
So I think now when I think of my anxiety around my birthday, it's like just like a reminder again. Is you never forget that any of your friends have passed away.
Never.
But I feel like your birthday is like almost like a triggering reminder, like that it's real. When you do open that wound of grief, I'm not even just grieving for my friends that have passed. I'm also grieving for my younger self that wasn't able to be happy around my birthdays, that wasn't able to live out a lot of memories with my friends or plans that I had because they were taken too soon, or even grieving of a lot of things that I missed out on because I robbed myself of the opportunity to do that because I wasn't always in a healthy mind state, and I did battle a lot with addiction. That's another thing of why it was triggering, when you're a drug addict, what does everybody, and you're an alcoholic, what does everyone like to do?
Right.
Everyone loves to use it as an excuse to drink and to party.
Yeah, let's go get fucked up. It's your birthday.
Absolutely. And I wouldn't say it was until about 5 years ago where I was like, okay, like I don't want to partake in that anymore. Like I refuse to get people bottles of alcohol or beer or anything like that for their birthdays. I only get people things like journals or like something for self-help. For any gift nowadays, like I don't indulge in the vices thing.
Right.
In terms of like negative addictive vices.
Exactly.
Now I am very happy that I get to do my birthdays how I want to and around people that I am excited to be around, but it doesn't make it any less hard.
Of course.
And that's why I say there's nothing that you could ever do that would lessen the anxiety around it, because I just feel like it's such a complex, rooted issue.
Right.
That
yes, that all builds up to the word anxiety, but it's so much deeper than that. And it's not just one specific issue where now you have this big dark cloud of anxiety around your birthday because of one specific thing.
Yeah.
It's 31 years of just shit.
And if we're being so candid, when I say I've lost a lot of people, it's like I think the list is somewhere up towards about 30. So it's like one a year. If you do resonate with that, I'm so sorry. But I just don't think that that's something that a lot of people know or understand or can really conceptualize.
No, I don't, and I will never pretend to understand that.
Right.
I couldn't imagine. And even in 4 years, I've watched you go through at least 4.
2 days after you moved here is the first one that I went through.
Literally.
Yeah.
When I say this, nothing, of course, will make your friends being gone any easier ever.
No.
Ever, 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 ever.
No.
It's terrible. It's fucked up. You are doing so great with channeling these friends. I have never met, been around. I don't even think I've really seen pictures up until very recently, like this past year, of David, of Jake, of Kevin, of a lot of other people that we haven't touched on too much here and won't get into, but I feel like I do know them because you do embody them and you do honor them and honor their life.
Thank you.
You really do. When we're walking down Key West and you tell me about, oh, this is where me and this is where Kevin lived. This is where we used to go do this. This is where we go do that. This is where Kevin spoke was parked. Like those stories that mean you're like, I don't want to say his legacy, but it really is. You're living on his legacy for him.
I mean,
and all your friends in a way.
No, 5,000%. And I feel like that's the only thing that's ever been able to help me with grieving is to just keep them alive. You never think your biggest fear as someone who experiences grief is that you'll forget. It does feel like you start to forget. And I'm so grateful that I have recordings of some of my friends' laughs that I do get to listen to. Birthdays are just a reminder sometimes that you're getting a year older and you're 1 year further from when you lost them. I think this just ties into me with all holidays. You know, you asked me.
I was going to bring that up as well.
Yeah. I've never been a big fan of Christmas or Thanksgiving, or if I was ever going to celebrate anything, it is Thanksgiving, and I hate the holiday just because of, you know, all the history and behind it. But as someone who didn't grow up with a family or like your ideal, everyone has a dysfunctional family, but I was a black sheep. I disconnected from my family very, very young. I was 15 when I moved out. So I guess holidays in general, not even just birthdays, but Thanksgiving and Valentine's Day and everything just, they become like jaded to you, and you just feel like you're not deserving of them, or that you just don't want, like, you don't want to participate in them because,
It's just another day.
yeah. Also, I grew up Jehovah's Witness.
Forgot about that. Oh
So I
my
didn't even get a real
god.
holiday until I was 7. And my parents divorced.
Do they do birthdays?
To be honest, I don't really know too much about Jehovah's Witness. I was very young, so I'm not too educated on it, but I don't think that they do. Specifically and uniquely to, I think, my father, which I am not close to and haven't talked to him in years. But when I was younger, that was the only holiday that he let us celebrate, and the only like thing that he would take us to do would be like, okay, we can go to GameStop and you can pick out like a game, or I'll take you to the mall and you can pick out one present.
Mm-hmm.
But that was like the extent of it. So I feel like even that from a young age, just like, your birthday's really not important. It was just maybe just instilled in me. And then as years went on, I had more and more reason to believe and feel that validated in me, where it was like, you don't even deserve to be here. You don't deserve a birthday. You're ungrateful for this. You don't even want this. Why are you celebrating it, type thing? And then you feel like a fraud, when you do show up and you celebrate. And people are like, oh my God, I'm so happy for you to be here. And you're like, oh my God, I want to die.
Yeah. I'm really sorry that you had that experience growing up, and I mean, all through your adulthood too, up until very recently. And kind of still, I guess.
It's okay. I mean, it's not. Being diagnosed correctly and then being able to get medicated from that and try different things has really helped lessen the anxiety around my birthday.
Good.
And just holidays in general. And I am actively trying to like rewrite memories. But I think it's just hard.
Can I reframe one thought for you?
Yeah.
That I do know that you truly know, but I don't think you truly know. I know that makes sense to you.
I'm listening.
You are deserving of another year.
Yeah.
You are deserving of a fun day. You are deserving of a day that's revolved all around you.
I know.
And you deserve to be loved. You deserve to be spoiled. You're deserving of everything, all good things.
Well, and I think that's another thing too is, I don't know, yeah, I'm sure you've noticed, but like for other people's birthdays, I really do try really hard to make them feel.
I think I've noticed. Yeah, because I'm the one that gets the end of that, and I love it.
Yeah, so that's where I overcompensate, and I'm an oxymoron, right? Like, I hate my birthday, but I love everybody else's birthday, and I want to make you feel loved. And that's another thing where I think for the last few years, I would even say maybe this is the first year that someone's ever done anything for me for my birthday. I'm usually always doing it for other people.
The one planning it.
So that is also nice to be around friends who like will go out of their way to plan things for me. And maybe that's another reason why I've always like kind of shied away from my birthday, is because I'm always the one that plans it, and I feel like the reason why I always plan it is because like if anyone's gonna do it, like I want to do it how I want to do it. I don't want somebody else taking over and then making me do what they want to do, which is my past experiences. I think this is also a two-way street where I have OCD.
That's also kind of where I was going to go with it.
And I don't like surprises. So I am, because I'm special needs, I am very hard to plan for.
Yeah.
For the most part in the last few years, I do feel like I have been more on edge. Yeah. So I think maybe nobody wanted to plan for me because they saw that I just needed to be in control of everything that I could be in control of, because so much else was out of my control.
Yeah, I think that's exactly what it was. Just want to say, I know that was a really tough conversation that brought up a lot of emotions, and I want to thank you for being so vulnerable with me and with all of us, because that's really, really tough, and thank you so much.
It's okay. I just hope that someone else I don't even want to give you advice or anything. I just hope that someone else hears this story and knows that they're not alone and that it can get better. With all that being said, I am very happy that I am here to experience another birthday.
Oh, cheers, bestie. Happy birthday. Here's to rewriting the rest of your birthdays from here to forever.
I love you.
I love you too.
We appreciate you watching another episode of Wait, What Are We Doing? Hit that subscribe button so you can join us every Sunday with a warm glass of tea and a cozy listening space. Don't forget to comment below and let us know. Do you like us? Do you not like us? We just want to hear some feedback from our lovely listeners. Love you, bestie. See you next week.